Hi, I'm Will Howard, and today's show we're going to devote to coin collectors. And we've got a typical collection here, and we have with us a certified numismatist. Did I get it right?
You're perfect, exactly.
So tell me what that is.
Okay, a numismatist is someone who has an interest in rare coins, or coins in general, typically a coin collector, or someone who deals in coins, buying, selling, trading, etc. And all the aspects of collecting, such as grading, authentication, etc. Okay.
So we have kind of a mixed collection here for the show today.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, you're certified.
Certified rare assets.
Okay.
Yes, we do professional appraisals for coin collections and
For banks.
lawyers, etc. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. Let's just
Private
jump in.
individuals. Okay, good. Okay, we'll start with a gold coin here. This is a large gold coin. Probably considered by many as the most beautiful coin ever struck in gold. Okay, that seems to be the consensus. This was
Can we
designed by.
doing tight on it?
Oh yeah. This is known as a St. Gaudens $20 gold piece. It's United States issue. This particular one, I haven't really looked at it yet myself. This is a 1922. It was struck in 1922, and that was before gold became basically obsolete for a period of time from 1933 on to a later period. The government actually recalled gold in 1933. They had minted a number of these coins, and then to give you just a brief history on that, then they decided to stop minting the coins. They actually melted down a lot of these coins that they had minted that particular year, and they made it illegal to even own gold except for items that were in your personal collection. Okay, so gold was.
So what would that be worth today?
Okay, on today's market, now let's take a look at it and see how we would grade it.
Go through the grading process.
Okay, well, you have grades. They have what is known as a numerical grading system today that's used by most dealers and collectors. It runs from 1 through 70, 70 being perfect, 1 being a coin that's almost so worn that it's hardly identifiable. Okay.
We've got one of those here too.
Well, it's good to run the gamut on those, actually, yeah. And the value of a coin is predicated primarily on grade. Also, the rarity of the coin, the date, and the condition are the main criteria. This particular coin, okay, this is a coin that shows to me to be in excellent condition. I would call it an extra fine, almost about uncirculated. Okay, and the first thing you look for on a coin like that would be, on this particular issue, would be the high points, the feathers on the breast of the eagle. Okay, I can still see those on there. They're worn down a little bit, but not very much. This coin has seen very, very little circulation. Okay, so to answer your question, Will, okay, this being 1922, this is what we use universally. This is the Bible of the rare coin business. It's known as the Coin Dealer Newsletter. We commonly refer to it as the gray sheet. If you attend any major coin show, this is what you're apt to find. This is what is used universally to determine value. Now, taking this coin, 1922, we'll go to the monthly supplement, and it comes in different sections here. And let's see here. The only thing is you have to have really good eyes to read this because the print is so small. Okay, 1922. We're going to go over to extra fine condition. Okay. Okay. Now, two things to remember. Gold is moving at such a pace that it's even hard to keep up with a publication keeping up with the value of gold because gold changes every day. Okay, in this particular issue, this is the May issue, okay, which is the latest at this time. We haven't gotten to June yet. The coin is valued at $1,535. But what you have to remember is that this publication may come out, maybe at around the same time as you're trying to evaluate your coin collection. But keep in mind, you may want to check Kitco on the internet or whatever to keep up to date with whatever the prevailing gold prices would be. It's very possible that this is behind the current gold price by a day or two.
Well, I will tell the owner, we borrowed this collection,
Okay.
and he'll be happy to hear that.
Okay,
Let's
very
go to
good.
some of the other coins.
Okay, we can pick out a Morgan dollar, okay? You've got some Morgan dollars over here. Let's pick out one of these.
Okay, let's show it to the camera.
Okay, this is an 1883 O Morgan dollar. Okay, these coins were struck between 1878, okay, and actually they even had a peace dollar later on, but these were struck between 1878 and 1904, okay. This particular coin, by looking at it quickly, is in extra fine condition. It has a mint mark on the reverse under the wreath under the eagle. There is a wreath under the eagle. And the little mint mark there is O, which means this coin was struck in New Orleans. Okay, that was one of the branch mints. Obviously, the primary mint is Philadelphia. These coins were struck in various mints, including Carson City for a while there. Also in San Francisco. Okay, so this particular coin is known is basically a common date. Okay, that's not a derogatory term. It's a term that's widely used in coins to describe the fact that it's not a rare date. However, you've got to consider the amount of silver in the coin. There's almost an ounce of silver in the coin. So if silver, like today, is around $36, I think, it's 36 and change an ounce. Most dealers, honest dealers, let's put it that way, because you've got to be careful. Stay away from the motel dealers, because you may get about a third to half of the value here. That's been the experience that we're finding. So stay with a legitimate known dealer, okay, if you consider selling any coins. Currently, based on today's price of silver, 36 and change, you may get about $30 per coin for a circulated, high-grade circulated common date. Obviously, rare dates are going to bring more money. Condition also is a consideration. Let's go to, if we can, Will, we want to go to a real oldie here. This is a neoclassical design coin, something that most people never see. Yet these are available if you contact coin dealers, or you go to if you're attending a major coin show, you will see these. This coin is dated 1800.
Wow.
Okay. You have to be aware, by the same token, you have to be aware that there are a number of counterfeits out there. Very pleased to tell you this is not a counterfeit. This is a genuine coin. Okay. And we'll take another look at it just to determine the grade, which is, again, very important. Okay. This particular coin has one little pot mark at the second star, but it looks like it happened probably 100 plus years ago. There is no sign of actual cleaning on the coin, although it's a possibility. I would say if this coin was cleaned, it took place probably 100 plus years ago and has retoned to a nice original looking patina since then. Okay?
So I'd advise him to polish it or not polish it?
No, absolutely not. I'm glad you brought that up, Will. That's extremely vital. I can't even stress it enough that cleaning a coin will instantly devalue the piece. Okay? For instance, this coin, in the condition it's in right now, without a cleaning, and I'm going to give you a comparison in a second. This coin is a nice fine, I mentioned the numerical. This is a fine 15 coin, okay, which means that it's a pretty nice looking piece. Now, you combine...
That's 15 out of 70?
Well, out of 70. A 70 being perfect. The coin, to be perfect, it has to be... just look exactly like it did the day it was struck. It has to have no blemishes, has to be a blessed, luster, a perfect coin. Honestly, I've never seen a coin certified MS-70. Okay, in a business strike. Now, there are some proof counterparts, okay, that were struck as proofs for collectors that were handled with kid gloves originally. Okay, those particular coins, it is possible. In fact, I've handled a number of those that were certified by the major grading services as proof 70. MS-65, MS-66 on these coins is almost impossible. These coins are worth a fortune in those grades. But in fine, let me give you some examples
Should
here.
we be wearing gloves?
Yeah, in fact, normally you want to wear white kid gloves or handle a coin like I'm handling it right on the edge. Never grab a coin. Let me see, I'll show you. On this coin, it's a common non-silver coin. Never grab a coin like I'm grabbing it unless you're going to spend it for a loaf of bread or something, okay? For truly rare coins, of which this is the only way to handle a coin. Kid gloves are preferred, I will tell you that, so that's a good point, Will. Okay, that coin has other attributes I'm going to mention too. These are not all created equal, even at the same grade. This coin is a fine, and I've gone through many coins that were in the same grade, the same type of coin, that were not worth probably half of what this coin's worth, simply because this coin looks original. It has not been tampered with, it has not been played with, it has not been abused, it hasn't been dropped, because if it was dropped, it would probably show some rim bumps, okay, rim dents in the coin. Hasn't been scratched. All those things are negatives that would contribute to, unfortunately, lowering the value. So I'm pleased to say this particular coin looks original, and I'm going to give it the highest number I can monetarily, because it actually deserves that. Okay, now let's go to that. All right, and we're going to go into our gray sheet again, and if my eyes were good enough to see without glasses, I'd be in good shape. But this is fine print, very fine print. Okay, we have an 1800. Okay. In the lowest grade, good, which that's higher than a good, you're looking at $800, to give you an idea. Okay.
My friend will be happy to hear that.
Okay, very good. Okay, now this coin, they're actually fine. Starts at a certain number and ends at a slightly higher number. And the reason for that is because you have a coin that would be a fine 12. That's where it starts. That's the lowest number for a fine, quite frankly, in the numerical system. It goes all the way to 15. To me, this coin is probably approaching 15. Okay, so in other words, it's choice for the grade, and I would give it a higher number than I even see in here. For instance, the 1800 is listed and fine for $1,470. That's a coin that I would say should be worth around $1,600. Okay?
But this is worth 800.
No, this is worth about $1,600.
1,600. Wow.
Right. Yeah. If this were a good sounds, well, it sounds good. Okay, I don't want to be facetious. Good is actually a fairly low grade. Okay, that means you can make out the coin. Okay, you can see all the design, you can read the date, everything is clear. But there may be considerably more wear to that particular coin, okay? For this to jump ahead by a couple of grades beyond that good, it's going to command a higher premium, okay? On this particular coin, as I mentioned, I would call it definitely a choice fine, okay, which is worthy. If a typical fine is worth $1,400 plus, I would value this at $1,600.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What would that be worth 5 years ago? Would it be worth more or less?
That's also a very good question, because I'm certainly not going to compare.
We're in a recession right now.
Well,
Car values, plane values.
Absolutely. You know, I could do some research on that with my past issues of the gray sheet.
But you've been in the business long enough. What's your gut feeling?
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I can actually answer that truthfully. Yeah, the point that you just brought up actually would make you think in some cases that good coins may not hold their value, but it's on the contrary. Good coins, okay, I consider this, for instance, a good coin. The gold coin I mentioned is a good coin. Numismatically valued coins, okay, coins that appeal to collectors, okay, are holding their value very well. Unlike baseball cards, certain other collectibles right now that are not doing too well, quite frankly.
Stamps.
Almost in the hopper, so to speak. Yeah, exactly. Coins are defying that situation for the most part. Now, again, I will qualify that a little bit. Not all coins are involved in that. Only good collectible coins, such as the dollar that we just looked at, and the $20 St. Gaudens gold piece. Okay, common date and generic type coins are not really holding value very well, because they're, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, because they're not, but they basically are common coins that really bring out very little interest in the true hobbyist, the collector. I call it the collector with strong hands who wants to keep the coin and hold them. Really rare coins right now seem to be harder to find than they were 5 years ago. And the reason is, I mean, obviously these coins have not dissipated. They haven't been dropped into the bottom of the sea. They're still very much in existence, but the collectors that own these coins, collectors and or investors, I could say, are holding on to the coins because they feel that in inflationary times, in bad economic times, they sort of follow gold and silver. Okay, so if you're watching gold and silver, and most people are today, I think we've become vastly aware of what's going on in that market simply because of all the advertisements on TV, etc. Just bear in mind, truly rare coins seem to follow gold and silver. So you can feel pretty confident. Now, honestly, there are times when you can watch gold and silver drop, and that can happen at any time too, so be careful.
Would that mean this would drop in value?
It's possible. It's possible. In my estimation on this coin, I think this one would be probably more exempt from dropping than most issues, simply because this is truly a scarce coin. That's why we have a big price tag on it. We have that on there because it is an in-demand coin. There are plenty of collectors that would buy this coin and pay a premium for it, okay, if they're collectors.
Well, we'll get into some more coins right after this break.
Okay, very good.
We're talking with Billy Dickerson, your nationwide insurance agent turned numismafit, right?
Well, I retired from the insurance business a couple of years ago, yes. And
well, you certainly, you're an expert at that. I want to ask you about this collection that we borrowed from a friend of mine. Here's a roll of coins. Tell us about this.
Okay, let's take a look at it, Will. Okay, looks like it's in the original mint wrapper here.
Okay,
bank wrapper.
So he purchased this for a reason, didn't take them out.
Okay, right, and it appears from looking at the two end coins that this is likely an original uncirculated roll.
Of what?
Of 1969 Kennedy half dollars. Okay.
They were silver, right?
Well, that's a very good question, and to give you an idea, 1964 was really the last year for coins that were minted for everyday use, to purchase things with, etc. That was the last year that coins were struck in 90% silver. The composition on dimes, okay, quarters and half dollars, 90% silver, 10% copper, okay? To give you an idea, we have different varieties here. This is the Kennedy half dollar, 1969. Before we go too far into this, I'll just give you an idea. There was one exception to the rule, I call it the 1964 rule, and that was that half dollars only, not dimes, not quarters, forget them. 64 was the final year for 90% silver, period. But unlike those two counterparts, the half dollar, okay, struck from 1965 through 1970 still contains some silver. Many people are not aware of that, and I have people call me periodically saying they went to the bank and they were given a 1967 or 1968 half dollar. Well, they did well because they simply reduced the amount of silver in these coins in that era from 65 through 70 to 40% silver. So these are still trading at above face value, way above face value. Currently, let's take today's market, we're about $36 per ounce for silver, which is a very high market. I mean, things have gone really bonkers here lately. These coins typically would contain somewhere around $7 worth of silver. Okay, where let's take the 1964 Kennedy half dollar, same design and everything, okay? But with the 64 Kennedy, again, we're going back to the 90% and 10% rule, 90% silver, 10% copper. Okay, those coins today, a fair price would be around $13 a piece. Okay, so what's happening now, the value of silver, okay, when you're talking about common date silver coins, I'm talking about even the old Liberty Walking half dollar. Okay, there are some exceptional dates again. There are some rare dates involved here, so you got to be careful. If you find anything dated 1921, do not sell it for silver value because that's one of the key dates, and they do command a higher premium.
Like what?
Well, 1921D, for instance, 1921D is considered a key date, one of the key dates. In, let's say, fine condition, okay, the coin is worth somewhere around $380. Now I'm going to say there are some variables again, as mentioned previously with the silver dollar, the old 1800 silver dollar. Okay, the other variables would be not only the condition, but the amount of abuse that coin has had, if there are some scarring, if there are scratches, rim bumps, anything that would detract from the originality of the coin or from the visual effects of the coin being a nice looking coin or an eye appealing coin would certainly detract from the value as well. Okay, if you're talking about the 21D, I would say with rim bumps, you're going to have to knock the value down from the 380 that I previously mentioned, even in the same grade, to maybe even a couple $100, because they're simply not as desirable for the coin collector, okay, as something that's really a nice, original, uncleaned, unplayed with condition. Okay.
Let's talk about some of the things people would find in a drawer their great-grandmother gave them. That's something
Good.
in a box.
Absolutely, that's
Like,
good.
would
That's
this
good.
fall under the category?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, let's see, we have here. I'm going to have to put the glasses on to check this one. I've seen plenty of honest wear. This is a 1922 peace dollar. And the peace dollar, by the way, the design was changed in 1921 to commemorate the end of World War I. Okay, it was designed originally to be a 1-year commemorative to that, and the design caught on, and they simply decided to continue to mint these through 1935, actually. Now, the 1921 was struck in high relief, meaning it looked almost like a medal rather than a coin, okay? And beyond that year, they simply took away the high relief and made it a standard looking coin. This coin was probably, I was looking for a mint mark on it, because the reason I say that is because they minted these in Philadelphia, which is our main mint, and they also minted the peace dollars in San Francisco. Okay, to give you an idea, San Francisco area, I think had a little more distrust. I'm going to say most of the Western states actually seem to have, or apparently had, more distrust for banks and government, because they like to carry these coins around their pocket. Most people are probably not aware, but on the East Coast, even here in a good old town of Easton, I remember as a young kid, back in the early 60s, 61, going to the bank and driving the tellers crazy, asking for silver dollars. And guess what? They'd always bring out a bag of silver dollars, many of them probably uncirculated.
Wow.
And you could get them for $1 a piece back in those days, folks. That was a great thing.
What would that buy in 1921?
In 1921, well,
Let's talk about some
Okay.
more common
all right.
coins, like the Indian head.
Okay, we have an Indian head penny here. In fact, let's see what we have here. We have an 1861. So this has sort of a double impact for a lot of coin collectors, because there are people that are interested in the Civil War. And Civil War era coins have drawn a little bit of interest, actually quite a bit of interest. We get calls all the time for coins issued in that particular era, 61 through 64 primarily. Those are the main dates. But the first small cent was known as a Flying Eagle. It was the same size as the coin I'm holding, but it had a different design. It had a Flying Eagle on the obverse and a wreath on the reverse. Now the wreath was retained in the following years, but 1856, 57, and 58 really were the Flying Eagles. The 56 being a rarity. They're only a small quantity of those coins struck, and they're worth in the thousands of dollars in almost any grade. Okay.
What's the date of this and what is
Okay,
it worth?
this is 1861. These coins were produced with a composition of copper and nickel until 1864, when they changed they had a transition period where the early strikes in that year, 1864, were struck in the same copper nickel composition, and later that year they went to bronze. I think I can tell you what it's worth without looking it up here, but I'm going to, just to be on the safe side, okay, give you an idea. In the condition it's in, taking into consideration, okay, the porosity, okay, the coin would be listed in good at $17.50, okay. With the porosity, the coin should be worth a little bit less than that, probably around $12. Okay.
And again, I'll ask you the question, what would it have purchased in 1861?
Oh, in 1861, although I didn't know Abraham Lincoln personally, or anybody from that era, this coin would have been equivalent probably in buying power to what a 50-cent piece would be worth today.
Okay.
Okay? You've all heard about penny candy. I don't think even 50 cents will buy you a lot of candy today, but this would have bought you a handful of candy back in those days. Maybe 2 hands full.
But it's worth 17 bucks today.
17 bucks today, right?
Okay.
Right. So again, it's held up to inflation pretty well.
So what is porosity?
Okay, porosity, would be basically like a corrosiveness
Oh, okay.
that would affect a coin, because you've got to remember these are metal, pieces of metal, and they do succumb to certain things, for instance, in the atmosphere, humidity, etc. And particularly if a coin has been found with a metal detector, quite often that's the case. You'll find that they've kind of succumbed to some of the elements involved in being underground. And okay, so a coin that is kept in pristine condition, okay, throughout the centuries, I will say centuries in some cases, because we even deal in medieval coins and ancient coins and things of that nature, you're going to find that God bless the original coin collectors who were able to preserve coins in really nice condition throughout the ages without, taking special care, because we don't own these. We have these for a particular amount of time, and then the coin will outlast us. I mean, that's why you have coins dating back in the 1700s and the 1800s that are still in really good shape. So I thank all those past coin collectors for doing such a great job.
Is there 1700s here?
Well, actually, I use that as a figure of speech, because we started minting coins back in, for practical purposes, back in 1793 in the United States. Prior to that, we were using what are now known as colonial coins. States used to issue their own coins, at one particular time. But when the mint became really organized and started producing coins one at a time on a hand crank, by the way, it was a press. It was really an interesting thing. These coins right here, for instance, these are bust $50. These were all minted one at a time, using elbow grease, really, with the old hand press. It's kind of an interesting feature. But
What's the date on that?
anyway, okay, this particular coin,
Yes.
let's take a look at it here. Okay, this is an 1821. Okay, would you like me to grade it for you?
Yeah,
and give you an
that'd be
idea of the value? Okay. I don't know if we need to get a picture of this. Turn it around so you can see the obverse of the coin. Okay, the obverse would be just a figure of what is known as Lady Liberty. And the reverse, we have the eagle. The eagle, you'll notice, is on half dollars and dollars throughout the ages. That's because Congress said it's going to be on there, and so we have it there. This particular coin is totally original, meaning it has not been tampered with, has not been played with, hasn't been cleaned, whizzed, or any of those kind of things there. It's in nice condition in regards to the fact that it's not scratched up, doesn't have any rim bumps. Okay, it's a desirable collectible coin. This particular coin would be in fine condition. Okay, 1821. Let's get an idea of what the gray sheet says on that one. Okay. Now, even though we don't see that design commonly, they're still available, readily available, believe it or not. Okay, so, but let's get an idea. 1821, in fine condition, we're looking at a bid, the bid on that, gray sheet bid is $75 on that particular coin, to give an idea. Okay? Again, this coin is struck the same composition as our later half dollars, like the Walking Liberty half dollar and the Franklin half dollar, and even the Kennedy half dollar through 1964. You have the same composition, 90% silver, 10% copper on that. Okay.
Now, if people would like to have you come and appraise their coin collection, you will do that for a fee?
I do. Yes.
Do you have a website?
I really don't have a website. I do have an email address.
You can tell me.
Okay. That would be dancer@goeaston.net.
Okay, and do you want to use your phone number?
Okay, 410-822 Let me give you this one, 410, 310, 2789.
Well, Billy, it's been really amazing looking at this coin collection. We thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.